Okay, hi everybody. Actually, it was great to hear both of those entrepreneurs before. I got asked a while ago, wow, it must be so much fun being an entrepreneur. And I think, as we know, the fun maybe comes at some part of the journey. As Rosalind was saying, maybe in a year or two's time when she's taken it through that journey. But at the beginning, the real task is to prove the concept, make it work, and then take it onto that next level. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you the products that we've built. I just want to share a little bit about the journey and why we've built these, and it will help you understand what we're trying to do here, because I'm going to show you just 3 screenshots of 3 different products. But I wanted to share, so I come from a digital finance background, been in Asia 27 years, been in fintech, well, as we said, 15 years. But I come from an equity trading background. I don't come from an insurance background at all. So in effect, I shouldn't really be standing up in front of you. So forgive me, I won't try and tell you anything about insurance. But what I realized in the market that I was in, which was equity trading, is about 10 years ago, we could charge 100 basis points. 5 years ago, we could charge 50 basis points. And when I left the industry 3 years ago, we could charge 10 basis points. And now you're charging 0. Equity trading in America is traded at 0. So I kind of worked out that industry was probably not the best place to be at. The wealth management industry, the savings, the investment industry, where robo-advisory is still overpriced. There's still some great products, but there's some not so great products. But the other side of it is, I was looking around recently, people are paying between 200 to 500 basis points to invest in funds and to invest in products. Now, there are ETFs and there are other avenues, but what I realized pretty quickly was that part where robo-advisory is coming to is an area where efficiency can still be brought. And that's the key thing. So that's why, where I came to this, I realized that the industry I was in, the margins had shrunk. Where the industry here, I think it hasn't caught up quite as much. So Bambu is a company I started 5 months ago. The reason I started it was I spent 1 year working for a company called InsurTech in Hong Kong, which was the first robo-advisor to launch in Asia. And what I saw really quickly was there a huge demand for people to use robo-advisory. And the reason I keep using this word robo-advisory, but I'm going to show you, it comes in 3 different flavors. That's only the 3 flavors I've thought of. There's going to be 100 different. Some are right for insurance, some are not. And what I realized pretty quickly was that everyone wants to get into a space where savings and investment are, because it either comes from spending, it comes from insurance, from different areas. And the 1 year where that was the first robo to launch in Asia, the amount of interest was huge, but particularly from B2B, particularly from companies looking to have some kind of digital product that would ease that saving and wealth journey. The most interesting ones that we saw, I think I mentioned in the earlier panel, for any of you who saw, the most interested were telecommunications firms, consumer brands, internet brands, anybody with a huge customer base, and then the financial firms hooking into them. So Bambu is a B2B company. We started here 5 months ago. We built so what I'm going to show you here is what you might call a typical, I'm going to assume you all kind of know the idea of robo-advisory. You know the idea, basically, it's just digital savings. The easiest concept that I had for it, if you don't know what it is, I had to explain it to my 15-year-old daughter. She said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, we're doing robo-advisory. She's like, no, Dad, that doesn't help me. She said, what is it? I said, it's like a piggy bank on your phone. She's like, okay, I get that. You know what she said to me? How else would you save money? She's 15. I said, well, you'd go and meet somebody, and they'd give you financial advice, and they would give you money. She looked at me and went, why would I give somebody my money? She had no idea. And just to let you know, on Snapchat recently, she got an ad. Snapchat is launching a robo. So soon Snapchat will be offering you wealth management. A company that makes your pictures disappear, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I'm not totally convinced, but then again, I'm not my 15-year-old daughter, although she does have my money. Some of it. Not as much as my wife has, but still. I'm going to show you what you'd say is a typical robo. I'm going to show you 3 products. Some people say it's a little bit confusing, but what I really want to show is the journey of what we've got. And some of it might be applicable to you guys, but I really wanted to show you that don't think of robo-advisory as just one product. This is what you might call a typical robo, and this is just a static demonstration. This is just a user experience. What robo-advisory really is somebody gives you inputs and you produce an output. So if you look at this, if you look across the screens, general investment, college, house, retirement, typical stuff. 4 different inputs. You can change the initial. And this is a tool that we're actually launching in Singapore in Q4 for a client. So this is a Bambu product that we're launching with a client in Singapore. So you'll be able to see this in the market. Please do sign up. It's accredited investor product only. It's not a retail product. But what most robos are trying to do is simplify this as much as possible. Initial investment, monthly payment, time frame, and risk. Once you put those in, it will give you this. Very simple. The key thing with robo is we're not, I think if you've heard the AI panel earlier on, it's not about outperforming the market. Every time somebody says, oh, you've launched a robo-advisor, it must have the smartest, intelligent. How does it outperform the market? If I could outperform the market every time, I'd be doing, not that I don't like doing this, but I might be doing something different. The real factor when you think about robo is the ease of use. Yes, there's new products. Robo will get better. It will get an AI. It will connect to everything else, like Uber's connected to Betterment. But to start with, it's ease of use. So what I show you here, so I'll show you what we did. 4 inputs, 1 output. This is a very simple breakdown of your portfolio. You could then say, okay, I like this portfolio. See the product information. It will show you a portfolio. And we're able to then transact that online. As I mentioned earlier on, you can upload your documents. What we're trying to do is to make that as easy as possible. In our second release, you'll have Skype, whereby we don't need to physically meet somebody. You can look directly over Skype. Small changes, but that's really where robo is. This market doesn't need leapt into the great new future of it. That's what we're trying to do. One of the things that we did, I know that you all have this, suitability questionnaires, so you can change from low to high. What we did was we took about 250 questions, broke them all down, and tried to break them down into 10 different categories. And then that would show what somebody's risk is. We then, when they go to buy the product, we say again, you click low, let me explain what that is. Are you happy with that? Yes. They can then go directly buy a product. Because what we will then carry on doing is checking their suitability. As I said, I mentioned this earlier on, if somebody tells you they're low risk and they only read high-risk stories and they keep trying to upgrade their portfolio to get 10% returns every day, they're not who they say they are. That's where I think robo's really going to make a difference. So that's what we built. That was it. We're out trying to find financial firms and different firms to use it. And I went to go and see, and so what I'm going to show you now is the other part of our journey and what we've built, because I went to see 10 private banks. I thought private banks would love this. This would be fantastic. And 10 out of 10 said it was rubbish, which is always disheartening when you're trying to make well, I'm 49 and I don't have too many goes at this left. So so we showed people this in the financial advisory space, in the commercial banks. They liked it, and I think there's a lot of use. We went to the private banks, and they said to us, why do you think your portfolio will be better than our portfolio? That's what we do, right? For a living, we make portfolios and give people advice. So, and I think actually Rosalind's point was fantastic. She said, if you're going to do a startup, go and find a pain point. So we said to the private banks, okay, if you don't like what we did, what do you want? Again, I sometimes get asked as a startup in tech, oh, you're trying to change the world. You're trying to disrupt. I'm like, no, I'm trying to find a product that people want to buy. So I said to the private banks, what do you want? What is it you actually want? And what's your problem? And they all said, the bosses at the bank said, my relationship managers, forgive any RM private bankers here, my relationship managers suck. They don't do as good a job as I think they can do. And so then we said to relationship managers, what's the deal? And they're like, our bosses suck, right? Because they give us all of these information. They give us loads of different stock ideas every day. I have loads of clients, but the information isn't connected. I don't really have the tools to make my life efficient. So we're not the first people to look at relationship manager inefficiency. But what we did is we teamed up with Thomson Reuters. They actually paid us to produce a prototype, which is always great as a startup to get paid to come up with an idea and the company to actually produce it. And our simple idea is to rank the different ideas that come from the private bank relative to the client. What I mean by this is just a sample. If I'm a relationship manager at a bank, and I come in the morning, I can see that I have 6 clients here. If you look down here, our ranking system says there's 5 positive stories to talk to Dilip about and 1 negative story. When I go in, and by the way, for any of you who just woke up or looked at your phone, Apple didn't buy Tesla. We just love to put that in. You see the people who are not paying attention, they look up and they're like, crap, Apple brought Tesla, I didn't know. And they find something. Although, I'll tell you something else on that in a minute. But what we did was, we then decided we would take a range of Thomson Reuters data. And what we took, if you see here, sentiment and buzz, we took sentiment and buzz from Thomson Reuters, which is social media mentions, which is machine-readable news. So, for example, if I send a tweet saying sell Apple, and Tim Cook sends a tweet saying sell Apple, they're two tweets, right? That's one and one. No, his is worth more than mine. So what we did was we ranked. We built an algorithm to rank all the different ideas and to say, okay, this is the most important idea for Dilip based on his profile. So it's a ranking system. We don't come up with ideas. We simply rank ideas, give it to the RM, and let him use it. And we got great feedback, so we started to build that. Then we went into the mass market, and we talked to a lot of mass people who are, and this is, if you can remember one term from what I said, robo-saver. That's where robo-advisory makes the most money, robo-saver. You can't take somebody who's got $10 and make them an investor. You've got to make them a saver. Start them on their journey, make them a saver. So we built a very, very simple, and I think, and again, I know nothing about insurance, so if this is wrong, you can just tell me. But I think in insurance about the user journey, we really went to the user journey here and said, how do you get somebody involved? So they take a picture of anything that they want, a consumer product or holiday, they take a picture, click. Then they have that on their phone. We ask them how much they want to save. We don't invest, we just save $50 a month. Great. There's their $50. They put it in, and they can start to save for their product. And then they can create a goal. Very simple. Okay, there's some fun money I'm saving. And we built that, and so what we're trying to do is find partners who would like to use our technology in that area. The difficulty with this is he's got to try and make money from it. So in our private banking and our robo-advisory, people take a share of the AUM. When you're only helping somebody to save and interest rates at nothing, how do you make money? How do you make money on this? So we had a little idea that we are building at the moment. How do I get out of this? Hold on, I'm just going to have to... So I'm just going to take this out and put that back in for 1 second. We had an idea to do this. We think that the real way to make money from Robo is selling them the products that they want to buy, or e-commerce. Hopefully this will come up now. If I put that back in correctly. There we go. Okay. I think I've got like 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. I'll make it really quick. 2 minutes and I'm out of here. Or Gerben won't let me here again. Really quick. And this is where we believe in the user journey might have some interest. We help people save, and our idea was this. If somebody's saving 100, they tell me, they take a photo of Bali, they want to save for their holiday to Bali on my app, and they say, I'm going to save $100 a month for my holiday. It's a $1,000 holiday. It takes them 10 months, right? So my first idea was after 10 months, they've saved 1,000, I send them to a travel agent, I take a small cut for introducing. Before I ran E-Trade, after I ran E-Trade, I used to build stock exchanges, so I've built 2 Asian stock exchanges. I realized if somebody's saving $100 a month for a $1,000 product, after 9 months, they have $900, right? They're a buyer at 900 because they're a buyer at 1,000. And I have travel agents, so my idea was you put travel agents on the other side and say to these guys, I know you want 1,000 for your holiday. Right now, there's a buyer at 900. You want to bid 910? Because I've got another guy willing to bid 905. I create a marketplace. And because you have that user's journey, when the guy starts saving for a holiday for $100, in the insurance sector, perhaps you could start selling him insurance because you know he's locked into that journey. And that's what I think RoboSaver can really do to get that user journey. And then for us, we believe everybody saves for a goal, right? Everybody's saving for something, whether it's a holiday, it's a retirement. And what we're looking for is a distribution partner for this product, primarily a telco, primarily actually, anybody with a huge number of customers. So I'll talk to Grab, talk to Starhub, talk to everybody we can get our hands on. Because I think this, and I think from an insurance point, using that user journey. So I know my time's up. That's 3 products that we're building. We're a B2B platform. You won't see Bambu in the market. You will actually see our first client under the brand name Connect coming out in about 6 weeks. But happy to either answer any questions or come up to me afterwards, and I'll try and explain what we're doing. Thank you.